pretty sure.
Maybe even 12 for luck.
Oh shit.
We should have.
All right. We got the camera rolling there, Cody? You're the man.
Didn't we already do lesson 15?
I can't recall. So long ago, far away. Did we do discrimination?
No, this is supposed to be 16, not 15. It's a typo on the thing.
What's a typo?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Oh my god, everyone freak out, please.
16, there we go. Correction on the fly. So we have not done discrimination. I didn't think so, but you know, that's pre-spring break, that's like light years ago.
We must have skipped one.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, let's talk about discrimination then. Okay. Stimulus discrimination. Stimuli or stimuli. These are events in the environment that regulate an organism's behaviors. Stimuli. Stimuli. Okay, so when you walk into a dark room, that room with low illumination is a stimulus. It regulates observable behavior. You reach for the light switch. That low illumination also regulates unobservable behavior unless we have some instrument. Your pupils then dilate. Okay? So, environmental events are going to regulate behavior. They are called stimuli. Stimulus control. This is the extent to which a stimulus, event, or condition regulates the occurrence of a behavior. Stimulus control. The extent to which a stimulus, event, or condition regulates the occurrence of a behavior. So when that stimulus is present, does it regulate your behavior? Does it influence your behavior? So when you walk into a darkened room, does that stimulus of a darkened room regulate your behavior of searching for a light switch or engaging in some other behavior to get illumination? If that happens, then that event, that stimulus of a darkened room is exerting stimulus control over your behavior. It's regulating the occurrence of that behavior. Stimulus control. We can have behavior that's strongly regulated, strong stimulus control. The behavior is very likely to occur at 100% of the time when that stimulus is present. Or we can have a behavior that's not under stimulus control or under very weak stimulus control. Stimulus discrimination training. This is the procedure that we use to establish stimulus control. We're going to reinforce a behavior in the presence of one stimulus and put that same behavior on extinction in the presence of another stimulus. Okay? So, two stimuli, one behavior. In the presence of one stimulus, we're going to reinforce that behavior. In the presence of a different stimulus, we're going to put that behavior on extinction. We're doing discrimination training. The stimuli that are used in discrimination training are called discriminative stimuli. We have two types. One is called the discriminative stimulus. This is the stimulus that's related to reinforcement. The discriminative stimulus is an antecedent stimulus. It's related to the occurrence of reinforcement. Quick review of antecedent. This is an event that occurs before the behavior. So the discriminative stimulus is present before the behavior occurs, and then reinforcement occurs. So that stimulus is signaling, Jack, if you engage in the right behavior, that behavior is likely to be reinforced. The discriminative stimulus. It's called an S superscript D, as you will see there in the notation. S superscript D, SD. The other stimulus is called the stimulus delta, or S delta, like the sorority. Now, we don't want to confuse that particular sorority with what the S delta really means, though, do we? The S delta is an extinction stimulus. If you behave in the presence of the S delta, we're talking about a specific behavior now. If you engage in a specific behavior in the presence of the S delta, that behavior will not be reinforced. The S delta is an extinction stimulus. It's signaling, don't do that. Don't be a sap. Don't engage in that behavior. It will not be reinforced. It's an S delta. SDs, S deltas. Okay, let's do a quick example of SDs, S deltas. Ready? You know some very salacious joke. What does the word salacious mean? It's been in the news for the past, 48 hours. Nobody watches the news. Nobody checks out Google News. Okay, how about I'll give you an SD for the answer. Porn movie star.
Hey, Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels. You got it right. We won't go any further. Okay? Salacious is sexual. All right? So you know a really salacious joke. You tell it to your friends. They laugh. So your joke-telling behavior has just been reinforced, right, by their laughter. Your friends are a discriminative stimulus, an SD, for telling salacious jokes. Now, an S delta. This is a stimulus that's going to signal, if you engage in that same joke-telling behavior, that behavior will be placed on extinction. So what group of people would be the S delta for you?
My mom.
Mom. Maybe some other people.
My mom wouldn't.
My mom would be like that.
They don't respond, they don't provide any reinforcement nor punishment. Nothing. It's like the crowd at a comedy club where they don't laugh to the bad after the comedian tells a bad joke, then it's just dead. So an S delta. Okay? So these are real life events. This is what it looks like from a contingency analysis perspective. Analyzing the contingency. What's going on? How this comes about. And this is with a little rat. Okay, so let's review the rules that we talked about some time back, because this is going to come up very soon on an activity. Rule number 1 is whose behavior. Rule number 2 is what behavior. Who is the rat? What behavior is lever press? Third rule. What event is presented, removed, or stopped following the lever press? Fourth rule, what is in the after condition? And we have a fifth rule. Is there a discriminative stimulus? And what is it? So, we've got our rat pressing the lever, contingent on the lever press. We have a food reinforcer presented. Is there a discriminative stimulus? And the answer is yes. The red light is on. If there's an SD, there must be an S delta. If the rat presses the lever in the presence of the green light, no reinforcer is presented. We're doing discrimination training. The rat will press the lever only in the presence of the SD, and will do something different in the presence of the S delta. For sure, it's not going to press the lever, because that behavior is not reinforced. Okay? Let's do a real life example. You're at the traffic light right down there. Let's say you are all by yourself. You're the first car heading north on 13. Traffic light goes from red to what color?
Green.
Green. And what do? Well, no, you don't go. What behavior do you engage in?
Oh.
You what?
Press the gas.
You press the gas pedal. What's the SD? Pardon? Can't quite hear. This is my deaf rock and roll here.
The changing of the light.
It's not the changing, it is
The green light.
the green light. This is where we have to be really precise. We're talking about a specific event. Green light is present, you step on the gas. The green light is the discriminative stimulus for your behavior of stepping on the gas. Okay? They're present all over. Goldie the goldfish. Okay? So, let's practice the 5 rules because they're going to come home very soon in your mailbox. Whose behavior? What behavior? Swims to the surface. Contingent on swimming to the surface, what event is presented, removed, or stopped? We've got a reinforcer presented. We always want to look for the reinforcer first. Reinforcer is presented. Is there an SD? Yes, there is. Hand with food above the water surface. You put your hand with food above the surface of the water, and the goldfish swims to the top. If there's an SD, there's an S delta. Hand is placed on the exterior glass of the tank. If Goldie the goldfish swims to the surface of the tank, what's going to happen? Nope. We are in the S delta condition. You put your hand on the exterior surface of the tank, and if the fish swims to the top of the surface, that behavior is on extinction. No food presented. You're teaching the goldfish to discriminate when to swim to the surface. And this behavior will then be reinforced under very specific stimulus conditions. When the SD is present, swim to the surface. It's signaling. This is when that behavior will be reinforced. Just like you're driving down the street. You step on the gas when the light is green. Oh, this is my dog. Okay. So Freya, the queen. What behavior? Jumps, smiles, shakes her head in front of the pantry. And if you have she's a golden retriever. If you know golden retrievers, they do kind of smile. They're structurally built to smile. When they pull their lips tight, they get a little smile. Okay? So the next rule is what event is presented, removed, or stopped contingent on her behavior. Rawhide strip reinforcer is presented. Then you ask the question, Is there a discriminative stimulus? The answer is yes. It's a verbal SD. Show me what you want. And then she engages in this behavior of jumping, smiling, and shaking her head in front of the pantry door. That behavior is reinforced. It only occurs in the presence of the SD. If she engages in that behavior under any other stimulus condition, it's put on extinction. Okay? That's only one stupid dog trick that she knows. Okay. Any questions about discrimination training? This, I will tell you now, if you haven't already observed, this is kind of complex. This is kind of complex. In the 20 years that I've been teaching this, this is the hardest chapter, followed by the next. Okay? So, any questions? I would urge you to download or log into the YouTube channel and watch this again. Because there is going to be an activity about this.
Like in 5 minutes.
Like in 5 minutes. Let's postpone it.
Okay.
Since this is the first day after break, right?
I was like,
And we know we know that your behavior is under stimulus control of spring break. Right? When spring break came, what did you do?
You shut down.
Nothing.
Stop.
It's a perfect example of stimulus control. How many people have read this lesson? That's a perfect example of good stimulus control for 4 people and really 0 stimulus control for the rest of you.
I'm still.
Okay? So, the activity will be on Thursday, and then we'll have to look at the schedule and see if we've got an activity that's already planned on Thursday too, so then it would be 2. I would go 2. Did I say that this is difficult, these 2 lessons?
Yeah.
All righty. Cody, you are in charge.
All right, guys. We're gonna be doing quizzes then. If we're gonna.
I think you got this right.